we are recording on both
Nice.
things. Right. And how long you guys gonna go, roughly?
I'm going to guess 20, 30 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, whatever.
Boom, 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 boom,
Here we
boom,
go.
boom, 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 boom.
Oh, let me get you on Dave here. Okay. Here we go. In
I'm
5,
wearing my glasses today.
I like it.
3, 2.
Good morning and welcome back to the podcast studio here in Proctor's Theater. Thank you for Open Stage Media. I just want to put some names out there right from the beginning. This is episode 31. 30 was in the field over on Summit Street, and it was a blast. I do want to talk about that, but I want to thank Maurice for organizing that and putting his time and effort in. I know he's a busy guy, and he's here as my co-host / guest today.
All right.
So for the 30th out of 31 times, I'm Dave Kellogg. I'm the co-host here. And let's open up to Maurice.
All right. And I'm Maurice Brown III. I am the city's homeownership coordinator.
Fantastic. I want to get to, we've touched on 2 podcasts now with AIK and MLB. It was early in the process. It was like in the single digits. We had them on the first time, I think.
Yeah.
And then we went live with Pamela Swanigan and for number 30. And since then, we've had a Brokers Open, and I've had a chance to show it. Last Friday, I was there from 9 in the morning until 11. I showed it 5 times.
Oh, wow.
I just sat there and I just had everyone lined up half an hour each. We were 15 minutes in the 2-bedroom and 15 minutes in the 3. And it was awesome. It was awesome.
So is it a popular project so far?
So, I mean, the build quality is beautiful. I mean, when we were there, you could still hear the construction sounds. They're totally finished. It's popular not only because, 1, it deserves to be, but 2, it's a gateway. And I've worked with a couple people over the last couple of years that as she was working to get a higher pre-approval to catch the boat, if you will, as it's trying to leave. The boat's gone, dude. The boat's gone. I mean, we're looking at 10 to 20% a year compounding increases in property value, which is why I'm telling you guys, always a good day to buy real estate.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, we're like, oh, we're top of the market. Yeah, that was 30% ago. Now we're top of the market. I'm under contract on something on Carey Street, and we're under contract in the 270s. I'm not going to give exact. It appraised for 309 yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, on Carey Street. Incredible. And appraisers like to hit target numbers.
Yeah.
They generally don't want to go 35,000 or any number that wouldn't give it away over contract price. And I told my client that. I was like, that's amazing.
So, I mean, it seems like the way the market is going, more and more people are going to be looking for more, quote unquote, affordable opportunities for themselves.
People are priced out every day. And, you know, and it's a numbers game. And I take my job very seriously, as do most agents. But I can't go to work for someone, and I can't get them a pay raise, and I can't get them a Christmas bonus or a Hanukkah bonus or whatever. You're in whatever. And as I'm showing these properties over there, you know, I was given some leads to work with. I feel like I've earned those leads to work with. I'm getting clients that, you know, I wrote offer for this woman that I couldn't grasp the price tag fast enough as rates went up, as value went up. And I have a contract out there for her. You know, if everything goes well, she and her family will have a home in once the build there is done. Let's say 60 days.
Oh,
and
wow.
We've been working for 2 years. So there's a win. And sure, so it's a win for me.
Yeah.
It's a huge win.
It's a win for that
for
family.
my clients.
You got to consider the fact that some people endlessly search for homes. Like they're searching on the Zillows, the realtors, then they're contacting to have their own realtor. You know, they're Google searching. They're knocking on every door that they don't see that seems like they might be selling. They see a U-Haul truck and they're chasing it. You know, it's. I mean, I'm being facetious.
But there's a good strong point behind the words and the giggle. Yeah. Right. I mean. True. And then most people qualify for FHA, and it's hard to get a conventional because your credit score may be not great, or your down payment, you don't have it in time, or, you know, your debt to income ratio isn't there. Yeah. So we go FHA, and what do we know about FHA?
Yeah, most people, that's a scary thing from a seller's point of view.
Yeah.
Because in their minds, it's going to take a longer process. There's more paperwork involved. And there's limits in what you can exchange between the buyer and the seller, you know. So, and then the next thing you know, you see somebody with a cash offer. You know, a lot of times, because there's like kind of a negative connotation sometimes around FHA, you'll lose out on the deal just because of that sometimes.
So I want to touch base just for anyone just catching it for the first time. The reason there's could be a negative connotation, and often is no peeling paint, no broken glass, no rusted metal. All appliances in place and have to work as intentional. You know, you can't have a shoddy foundation or, you know, whatever. Which means the houses have to be in good enough condition. And if you're on borderline, you know, if I'm bringing the buyer and you're the seller, you might say, well, man, I think I've got some peeling paint under the eaves, and that's 2 stories up on a tall ladder, and that could be a week of work. Or, you know, I've got to go out and I've got to spend money to make the money. So if you had 3 offers that were identical, well, we won't count cash on this.
Yeah.
All right, because that's a no-brainer, right? You know, one was 2 were conventional, one was FHA. You might do $3,000 to bring the FHA up to standard, so it'll go.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that the standards exist. Because most lead poisoning is from lead paint ingestion.
Yes.
You know, we talk about lead in water.
Lead paint. Lead.
You would drink 1 million gallons of water to equal 2 or 3 lead paint chips. I mean, like, it's a huge difference. If you look at across the board, anywhere people get lead poisoning, rather, forgive my stumble there, it almost always comes from eating a source and not having a little contamination in, like, a kid's drinking water or something. Yeah. So I'm glad those standards are there, because most people dump all their money to make a purchase, and then maybe they don't have $5,000 at the end of the day to alleviate that potential lead hazard.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it's there for a reason.
It's a safety thing, and I think that especially for a first-time home buyer, which FHA is typically marketed for, at least knowing that some of those simple, basic things are not going to. Your financing won't allow that to be an issue for you. Yeah. I think it's a little bit more of a peace of mind, but it does come with, on that other end, the stress from a seller who I may not want to waste. I don't want to have that time invested just to do that just for you. You know, you don't have a personal relationship 9 times out of 10 with these people. Yep. These are typically arm's length transactions, right? Yep. So, and those for you don't know, but an arm's length transaction essentially it indicates whether or not you have a relationship with the buyer and the seller.
Generally, no friends, no family.
Yeah, no friends,
no
no
pool
family.
league friend. Yeah.
The way I used to describe it is, you know, someone who you keep at arm's length is an arm's length transaction.
There you go. Yeah. So I have been getting very good at I want to go back to now we can talk about FHA again as it relates to the new housing being built on Summit Street. Yeah. And I realize it's not only Summit. There's a couple on, like, there's one on Minders, and there's a couple.
Yeah, but they're all like off of Summit.
But the majority is Summit. So let's just let's call it the Summit Street projects, right? I'm looking at the paperwork, and I'm like, this is great. These houses are so new; they're not built yet. You know, they're coming in boxes. We talked about, you know, crane day coming in, and we don't have pest issues or lead issues or any of these issues that are on these common kickbacks. You know, the appliances are still in a factory somewhere, maybe not even being assembled yet. So,
I thought that was interesting too when we went through to look at the unit on the last episode, because like it comes with the appliances, everything just in there, brand new. You know, you don't got to worry about someone using your ice machine before you did. You know, anything, which is a weird thing, but like I have a pet peeve about it.
So I thought one of the coolest things is because they're doing ductless mini splits, and they have those in ceiling disbursements. That's where the heat and cold air comes from. Is that there is a thermostat in every single room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you want your living room 2 degrees cooler because you're in there hanging on the couch, or maybe you're playing intense games and you're sweating your face off, but you want your bathroom 3 degrees warmer. Because that's where you jump out the shower, right? So maybe a little warmer in there is more comfortable.
So what it reminds me of is when I was a kid, you know, we weren't allowed to touch the thermostat. Yeah. Because it controlled too much. Yep. So I even till this day, like if I walk into someone's house, I'm like, I'm not touching your light switches, I'm not touching your thermostat or anything like that. It's probably childhood trauma. Yeah. But like something like that is like an awesome, you know, situation, because if you're like some people like the old folks used to say like are warm blooded and they just run hotter than others. Some people run colder. So at least it's not a fight to control the thermostat in your house anymore.
So they're electric. You know, we're talking about electric only houses now, right? And they're like, oh, electric's the most expensive. I said, whoa. The baseboard electric heaters you're familiar with are expensive. And most of the time when you see it in a house, it's because maybe that wasn't a change where it had a boiler or sometime. You're probably also looking at houses that aren't well insulated. Right?
That's a good point.
I mean, I bought houses multiple times that it was, you know, they thought electricity would be a fad. I just showed 1077 University, that castle right across from the college.
Oh, yeah.
There is an 1/8-inch little gas line coming out of where the wires are, because that was a dual fuel light, meaning it was a gas light or an electric light or both. Now, the light fixture is not there.
Yeah.
But I haven't seen those since I was since I was in Troy. You can't buy those gas lines again. It's cool.
Yeah, but no, it's cool, but there's a cost associated with those types of things.
And a lot of houses, until they've been updated or built after a certain point, don't have any insulation or have subpar insulation compared to today's standards. So it's maybe electric is what we consider more expensive, but if you have brand new insulation, your bill will be less no matter what source.
That's true. And I'll tell you right now, because where I live, it's all electric. And my electric bill is like never more than $75. But I'm a single person.
That's $2 a day, dude. I mean,
yeah, like I'm
$2.50
never
a day.
spending much money, like ever. So
Yeah.
tell me more about. So I know they had the brokers open.
Yes.
Right. So you went to that too?
Yeah, I was. So my client, who I've been working with for 2 years, she got there early. I said, come early, 5-10 minutes. I'll be there a little bit earlier than that, thinking I'd get there half an hour early. I got there half an hour early. She's waiting for me. I'm like, wow. This is dedication, right? And it was great. We had maybe, I don't know, 30 buyers come through. Just people who wanted to poke in, and maybe they were serious or not, whatever. It's cool. It changes the neighborhood. I'd want to go in too. Yeah. If was it 38 units, something like 20 houses, 25 houses were knocked down and being rebuilt, I'd want to know what they look like too. Yeah. Right. It's you can't do that much work in an area and not bring interest and even just curiosity. So I was there with, and I'm going to forget some names. Please don't feel bad. You're great. But I was there with BC, and I had a couple people in there. Doreen was there. Okay. Pamela was there giving tours. Khadijah Peak was there. Yeah. Of Peak Realty, and Lisa Atkins was there, and a bunch of names. Like I just
so you had a good mixture of loan officers, housing counselors,
awesome.
realtors there.
It was awesome. Okay. But for anyone listening, if we made it this far, awesome, thank you. I know it's a bit dry without having someone new in. The first stop is to get your BC&I paperwork together. Okay. That is the door. We can't open the door to any of the other options until that door has been opened, and that's going to be a grant, income eligibility, because these are income eligible housing. Okay. Right. So they're half price compared to what anyone could sell them for. They're half price because your tax dollars are at work trying to help your neighbors get a house, maybe for the first time ever. So income eligibility and grants. And for this project, the grants are up to $10,000, I believe, is what I heard from BC&I.
Yes.
Which is cool. And then there's some lenders out there that have access to the individual grants. I know for qualifying home buyers, the Restorative Housing Justice Fund is putting $10,000 instead of $5,000 down. So there's a lot of help getting people into homes on this street. But none of that matters until you fill out your BC&I paperwork and go through the process. And I visited Melissa, who's at the front desk, the other day, and had a great conversation with her. And I said, hey, I'm bringing some people in. She held up like a stack of like 6 folders. Like, these are yours, Dave. I'm like,
oh, at BC&I?
Yeah, it was really cool. It made me feel good. It means that I was working hard. Yeah. But there's no, like, that's our number one stop.
Okay.
And, so if anyone is thinking about going through the process, feel free to reach out to me, Dave Kellogg. Feel free to reach out to Peak Realty. Khadijah Peak, I'm sure, is great at handling phone calls, right? I don't know. Did Pam give her information out last time?
Yes, I think she did give her contact information. And you can also go to their website. I Google it every time. I just go AIK property group, and it pops up.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, and it gives you like a nice little visual. You get to see like the price point of the different units that they have. Because is it like 3 or 4 styles?
There's 3 styles.
3. Okay.
So there's a 2-bed, which comes as a single, like a left half or right half. With a 2-bed comes in the very hard to find 2 family. 2-bed over 2-bed 2 family. There's 4 of those. There was 5. Minder sold. I have contracts out in 2.
Okay.
That leaves 2.
All right.
2 for the project, and I'm one of like I assume I'm around one of 6 agents handling the leads that come in.
Mm-hmm.
So they could very easily have 1 or 2 of those already filled out. So if you're looking for a brand new 2 over 2 family for just pennies shy of $200K, call today.
Oh.
Right. The 3 bedrooms are a little bit more in demand, I think, at least from what I'm finding.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got several 2s, but they're nice sized. I mean, nice sized closets, washer and dryer hookups. These are beautiful.
That's like gold to me. Like the washer dryer hookup. Of all things, like if I'm ever looking for a home, my biggest thing is I do not like to go to public laundry. There was a few years, and this is going to sound horrible, but there were a few years where I would just rather buy new clothes. I would just buy new clothes. I was like, I'd have a stack of dirty laundry that I'd eventually get washed, and I was like, I might as well donate this at this point.
Yeah.
Because I'm never going to wear it again, because I'm never going to want to go clean it again. Like, for a good 2 solid years, Maurice Brown was not doing laundry. I was just buying new stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So, like as a landlord or developer, I like providing laundry in unit. 1, it's convenient, but 2, you get to move the cost of doing the laundry from the laundromat and adding it to the rent. Right? You don't put in a washer and dryer system and the plumbing and electrical for free.
Yeah.
But you can easily spend $30 3 times a month doing laundry, and that's before you consider gathering it, putting it in a vehicle. Hopefully you own one, otherwise you're Ubering to and from, and you're still paying for it somewhere. And this time you can do kid spits up at night, you can throw a sheet in and have it the next day without having to wait for laundry day.
Yeah, the pure convenience of it just works well with a lot of people's lifestyles these days.
Yeah, unless you got a shirt on reorder every week for you, Maurice.
At the time, I made bonus checks. So at the time, it was cool. It's a little bit different. But I do my laundry like at 2-3 a.m. in the morning. Sometimes
I threw it in before I got in the shower, before coming over, and I could feel it get a little warm, a little cool, a little warm, a little cool as it was trying to balance the load. Hey, we haven't talked about the comprehensive plan in a little bit. Do we have a meeting for something like that coming up?
Yes, actually. I believe the downtown one is coming up soon too. Let me just... Uh-oh. My phone's glitching out on me. Sorry about that. But we do have the comprehensive plan meeting. There is actually on Thursday, the committee for the comprehensive plan meets, and it's a public open meeting, so anybody can go to it. So the committee that's essentially supposed to provide guidance for them to organize everything, they meet, I believe it's like once a month or so. So that's happening this Thursday at, I want to say 5:30 p.m. at City Hall, room 110. Same room that you would go to like the City Council committee meeting at.
Okay. Yeah. I've been there for that's the one where the court's held, the 110?
No, the one downstairs.
Okay. That's 2. Okay.
So the 110 is the smaller room with the big table.
Okay, on the left, you go up the stairs to go.
Yeah, right next to the mayor's office.
Yep, cool.
So they'll be discussing a number of things at that meeting. I won't be in attendance this time for that one. But again, it's open to the public. The public can come, they can listen in. And then I believe downtown has a community meeting coming up, and then the Stockade will be after that. I don't know if they've announced the dates for the Stockade one yet, though.
I remember I took my girls to that, and it was really fun and educational. But I remember how often everyone's feelings aligned. More walkability, more small shops. Not enough people talked about trolleys and chickens. Honestly, I'll throw that back out there. Would have been cool for everyone to talk about that.
I mean, that's your thing. So
it's my thing.
The chicken and trolley guy.
Yeah, we drove an hour to pay 2 hours or something like that to go to almost to Boston to pay $25 a ticket to go on a trolley.
Really?
That was open air. We went in January. This is cool. So I'm in Niskuna, and we just had my middle child now, because I've got 3 and I have a middle. She had like a parents come to school day and show what they're working on, and I looked at it. January 25th, she came back to school, and that was like one of her first entries. And in it, she drew a picture of a trolley, rudimentary. I mean, she's a first grader, right?
Yeah.
And that was her favorite thing she did over Christmas break.
Really?
No joke. And it was 2 hours each way. It was cold. We were supposed to be there at 8. I think we missed it. So we went on the 9 o'clock. And we didn't get home until like 11:30. And it probably cost $220 or something round trip. And it was the best thing on Christmas break.
Yeah, family of 5 though. That's still good pricing.
The little one was free. No, it was free. But
yeah.
that includes the drive to and from.
Yeah.
But so when I talk about chickens and trolleys, I know it sounds like a joke, but you don't think I'd just come here and ride the trolley and drink a coffee once in a while and just get out? Absolutely,
I mean, from a tourism perspective, I think that could be like a really interesting thing. And then I know locally, there's a few different things that are going on. So of course, there's that June 12th is the committee meeting for the comprehensive plan.
That's coming
that I was
up.
talking about.
That's
That's
coming
June
up.
12th.
Is
That's
that Monday?
at City Hall. No, that's Thursday.
Thursday.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay. So Thursday's in 2 days from now. So we got to get published in 2 days. No pressure. No pressure.
But they're also starting up the bands on Broadway as well.
I don't know what that means.
No, it's a new thing. So it's a series of where they're going to be inviting bands to play downtown and Broadway.
Get out of here. That's awesome.
Yeah, so if you ever check out any of the city council meetings, they were just talking about it before for some approvals and stuff. But it's going to be a new weekly concert series starting on Thursday. From 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. every Thursday is when it's going to be happening.
Is it going to be an open container law in effect, or can we stand around with a beer and listen to music?
It doesn't specify on the flyer, so I would recommend. I don't know
so
if it's
anybody
like
that wants to be the guinea pig. Thursday 5 to 9.
won't be me.
No?
So,
That's really cool. Is that like our version of a Troy Night Out kind of thing? Is that what they're hoping to do?
Well, we already have the Schenectady Night Out thing that's downtown, where there's usually like 20,000 people or something that pop up.
Is it weekly?
No, that's just once, and then this
that's where they do the big parade.
Oh yeah. So when they shut down all of downtown,
yeah.
they do suspend the open container law for that, and then there's a bunch of little booths and where you can buy I think I got a giant pretzel last time, and there's always like a mound of sand, which I've never actually looked at, but I think somebody's like sculpting sand in the street.
Okay.
So that's always interesting, but I can hear it from my apartment, so
you might as well go. If you can hear it, you might as well go.
I might as well go. Yeah, but the concert series is going to run all the way through August 7th.
That's a night. So most of June.
Yeah,
all
I think
July.
it'll be right outside like Vice and Virtue.
So we're talking like 8 or 9 times.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to do.
Yeah, another thing to do. And of course, Mosaic Apartments is still has an open house coming up on June 13th. That's on Friday.
Mosaic Apartments.
Yeah, that's the new apartments over there on Crane Street, right next to the library. So you know where Chrysler and Crane.
I know where we go to the library for ours. We have the homes, like the parade of homes, almost kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
That's the same place.
Yeah, same location.
I remember seeing a couple.
So there's like the Family Dollar, there's the library, there's the Family Dollar, and now there's these new construction buildings that are right there.
I wonder if we can get a quick walkthrough and a meeting with them, kind of like we did with Pamela for Summit.
I'm sure we could. Yeah,
that'd be kind of a fun way. That was fun to go out there.
Yeah, I like being in the field too. I thought that was interesting. And then I'm hopefully it wasn't caught on camera too much, but I'm like always like my mind starts drifting. I start looking around.
And then you hear the click 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 as the text goes in or something.
Yeah,
cool.
So but those are rentals at 914 Crane Street. It's 2 buildings there, which actually is pretty cool. Is DePaul, the DePaul Group. I think they're based out of Rochester, but they've done like multiple things locally. It's a nonprofit organization developer. Those rental units, so like they, I believe they manage it themselves.
Are those income qualified? If they're not for profit, are they income qualified apartments?
I believe some of them are. Yes.
Okay. Cool.
And they're actually convertible to. So I guess part of the thought process when they were doing it was, if you are someone who's a little bit up there in age, but you're fully self-sufficient, but then you're aging in your apartment because you happen to be someone who doesn't desire to purchase a home, you should not have to move all of a sudden to get into a specialized type of living situation, especially if you don't actually need an in-care unit, someone there for you to care for you. So they can convert it to be accessible relatively easily.
Yeah, that's cool. Which means there's probably an elevator of some kind there.
Yeah, the big building, I know for a fact there was one,
That's
only
cool.
because I was looking at it when they have like a time-lapse video, I think, of it.
That's cool.
When they were buying or if they're building it.
All right.
Yeah. So lots of smaller things going on, larger things going on in Schenectady. So for those people who are interested in these types of opportunities, like Summit, those are the things to keep an eye out for. I know they had the brokers open. That's one of the ways to get the word out, kind of thing. I was curious though, what's the difference between a broker's open and a regular open house?
All right. So a broker's open is you get invited as a real estate agent, or so a broker's open is mainly for real estate professionals to go and take a look at. It's an advertising piece that say, hey, let me get you the nitty gritty so you can now educate your buyers that might be interested in this. So when you show up, it's not the first time you've opened these doors. You know what that box in the ceiling is, the output portion of your heating and cooling system.
Okay.
Right? You're not looking for 20 minutes for a trap door into a crawl space because there isn't one. Okay. Right? It's really a visibility piece. Open house is like, hey guys, bring your clients here, just look around. And so you as a buyer client, a buyer can go into an open house, but the new rules for realtors and the rules from August 17th, 2024, I think is the date. Rules change with agency. Yeah. So it's, in my mind, that's a gray area I don't know enough about. Like, if I had an unrepresented buyer come in, can I give them a tour of the open house without an agency agreement? I'm not entirely sure. So I just send out agency agreements normally anytime, but it's nice to have an open house attended by a buyer with their agent, because then I know the rules. Yeah. And they're very clear cut. Okay. Unless a buyer comes in and says, hey, I want to buy this house, I want you to be my agent on both sides, and let's go. That would be a great conversation to hear. It doesn't happen very often. No. Right. But not too often. Yeah, it's just advertising, and like I've gone into houses where a client's canceled on me last minute, and it sucks. I was in O'Brien on Rotterdam the other day, and it had a spiral staircase, and it could have been in a catalog, and I would have been just as impressed to see it in 2 dimensions as I was in 3. Awesome. But now I know about it, and now the millions of listeners that we have here are gonna be like, what is he talking about, O'Brien? Let's call David. I want to see the video he took or whatever. But yeah, it's just visibility, and visibility is very rarely bad in real estate.
Now, today, you've of course, you've got people selling houses, buying houses. If you were going to provide guidance to someone selling their house, is it the best way to go start with like an open house, or just to immediately throw it on the market and just have everybody schedule their showings?
So previously, there's a lot of research that the National Association of Realtors does to show why we have value as real estate agents, professionals. And it was like 90% of for sale by owners sell to friends and family because they know the house, they've been in there. They have the visibility. And when you think about it, do you think it's your friends and family who are going to give you the most money for your house? And the answer is like, no, it's a friend discount, it's a family discount. Or maybe my friends and family have this much money. The house is worth this. I'll try to come down to be agreeable. Right. And I think if you're serious, you should have a pre-sale home inspection done. You should make your home available and ready for FHA and VA buyers, right? Because you're going to open up the pool, and the more people you have throwing offers and therefore money behind those offers at you, the more likely you're going to get a number that makes you more than happy, right? So a pre-sale home inspection is a great choice because you know what the problems are going to be. You have the opportunity to fix them at that moment. You can then provide your pre-sale home inspection and have before and after pictures on the issues. Hey, we had a leak in these 2 pipes. that we didn't know about. We found them, we fixed them. I had a soft foot on one of my main beam supports, so we tightened that up and we brought the house closer to true level. We were out by a quarter inch because something sat, whatever. So you can provide a before and an after and say, look, guys, we've done the inspection, we've made the corrections, and now we want to sell the home as is because we've just invested more time and money in, but it's now ready. And I would also say, I do a lot of buyer agency stuff. I push back when I'm not getting my 2.5% to the point where I'll hit my clients up who can't always afford it, or I say, guys, this is what we have to do. Like, I'm worth the money, I'm worth the time and effort, and I won't bring a buyer that has to cover the difference. So there are some listing agents out there that will cut deals on their list side. That's cool. If that's how you run your business, that's great. Full power to you. Maybe their quantity over the individual, but you have a lot of choices in the market to go with. So I'd say if you want to get serious, know what your house looks like, make some minor corrections, and list with someone that has a proven track record.
Okay. No, I know a lot of sellers out there are always thinking they can do it on their own and just sell their house without having an agent. And some people are successful at doing that, but I think you make a good point that a lot of times that visibility factor, the ability to actually make sure the right buyers are actually looking at your home, the right serious people are being able to look at your home. I think that's where a large portion of the value of having a real estate agent comes into play. Also, there's some realtors, because not all realtors are made equally, who actually have the knowledge about, hey, how do I get you involved in a grant program early on and make those introductions for you.
I was talking with Lisa yesterday, and she's done some education piece about grants. Guys, for the sellers, it doesn't matter if your buyers have a grant or not. That's how they're meeting your price. Grants aren't negative. Grants are the great equalizer in a lot of cases, or maybe even give you the heads up or the leg up. As if I get a buyer that has a grant, I'm not looking at that in any negative way at all. In fact, I'm excited because now we're able to get the price that we agreed on, and we're helping the buyer figure that out. There can be, it's unfortunate that some listing agents might look at, hey, my buyer's getting these 2 grants, and here are the approval letters, and I'm like, well, what happens if they don't get a grant? Well, we can't buy, but it's been approved. It's like a loan. Yeah. It's like, here's your loan commitment, bro.
Yeah. Arguably, they do a lot more work on the grant side to confirm you when they give you those letters than they do for like some loan officers, because just like realtors, not all loan officers are created equal.
Yeah, I understand that too. Yeah.
You can knock out a pre-qualification in under 10 minutes, really.
And it means nothing in a lot of cases until
if you haven't looked at documents.
So one of my favorite local places to shop for a loan, not a sponsor, is I like Trusco because they're fully underwritten pre-approvals. And you come with that, and you're like, okay, you're conventional, everything's been confirmed and let's go. I love them. They're great. It's as if someone wrote, we will buy this, here's my guarantee. Well, until inspections come or there's title issues or something.
There's the money and then there's the house.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I think we bounced around quite a bit. I'm glad we hit some things topically. I want to point to where the market is real fast for like 6 seconds. I didn't bring any paperwork.
No, of course.
Everyone always tells me, "Oh, am I going to get over list price?" Well, if you listed a $200,000 house at $300,000, you're not getting over ask price. You're going to get, the home is worth what it is. But I'm seeing home values still on the rise, and I don't think it's going anywhere right away. And if let's say import tariffs stick this time, and wood and metal gets a little bit more expensive, they're not building as many new houses then. So I don't see home value dropping. I just don't see it. I opened up a realtor.com email this morning. It talked about how some investors are marking up or selling more. Maybe it's just they think it's top of market, but I don't see it. I'm busy I had 2 confirmed offers this morning. So it's been a long day already. It's 11:30,
and we're still at the beginning
12.
of the season. So
so it's busy out there, and I still think absolutely, if the home fits for you and makes sense, I think the right time to buy is whenever you can do it. as long as it makes sense to the individual at the time. So that's it.
Yeah, I think
That's
I'd
what I got.
encourage everybody that if you're looking to buy, if you're looking to sell, a large part about that and making sure the value is there, it comes from your team and making sure that you have a good realtor, have a good lender if you're a buyer, go through that housing education piece regardless of whether or not you're looking for grants. Because I think making sure you surround yourself with the most qualified team is ultimately going to be how you make sure that your purchase or your sale is the most successful for your life.
Yep. Cool. So I look forward to, I will do my best to come out on Thursday to that comprehensive plan, because I really liked it. I thought it was exciting to see the local energy in commotion.
Yeah.
So I'll do my best to be there. If anyone sees me and recognizes this face, I might have a haircut by then. We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Or
you have luscious locks. You know. But definitely, we look forward to seeing you there. What we'll do is we'll also post, because I do know it's already posted, but the flyer for the downtown comprehensive plan community meeting as well. And anything else that you have for the good of the people?
Just honestly, I'm super excited about Open Stage Media's new mics and headphones, guys. These are delicious. These are wonderful, and there's a bunch of other new programming on Open Stage Media. So I know you follow us exclusively because we're the coolest and this is the most fun and entertaining content. But there's so much other cool stuff on there. Yeah. Guys, take your time. It's Open Stage Media. It's a YouTube channel. They've got their stuff listed in playlists. So if you want to start talking about historical stuff or the play that changed your life, there's like 3 or 4 more that I just started getting into. I don't have those things memorized, but there's a lot of really cool content out there.
The other good thing is not just on YouTube. You can also log on your Apple Podcasts. You can go on Amazon Podcasts.
Yeah. It is on Spotify.
And on Spotify, too. So
that's how I started getting to the other ones, because I was doing long distance driving a lot up to Amsterdam and Gloversville.
Okay.
And it'd be like an hour in the car, and it'd be like, I started this podcast because I want to talk more about plays in theater. I'm like, yeah, that's right. It's cool.
All right. So for those of you out there listening or watching, be sure to check out Open Stage Media. You can also go on the city's website, and we'll have it linked to the podcast, so that way you can just click one link and then get there as well. And definitely reach out if you're actually interested in starting your own podcast, because sometimes that's available too.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
31 in the books. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks it is.